like how after creating the objects, multiple objects of the class, we can have multiple copies of whatever the class is having, and how when we change the values in the object, it's not going to impact the other object values. Like you were explaining us by giving examples of how when we change a value in one object, it's not going to impact the other. Like how a Xerox copy, when we change the values in one copy, it's not going to affect the other ones.
Okay. So then what we have been planned for today?
So we're going to still continue on that, sir. And
okay, fine.
we also
So
discussed about the global variables.
yes. So starting, we have been discussed with the global variable and the local variables, and we have been seeing that the memory allocations are more focused on the last session. So if we have been creating a non-static variable or the static variable, and how we are going to access them into any particular static method or a main method, how we are accessing, and we've seen the differences between the static and non-static in terms of the memory allocation. So now, if, all these particulars, okay, let me ask these questions rather than me explaining this one. So, Sai Kumar, so where all our static members will be stored?
Can we ask again?
Where all our static members will be stored?
In stack memory. Previously, when we have initialized initially, those are stored in stack memory. Whenever we are accessing them with the object reference, then they are stored in heap memory.
Sirisha, why we create an object?
To call the non-static to the static.
Okay, so Swapna, can you tell me where these particular non-static variables will be stored?
Non-static variables will be stored in stack memory, sir, initially. But when we create an object, no, that time they will stored in the heap memory. If we change one object, it reflects only to that particular object. It doesn't reflect other objects.
Okay, where are static members will be stored?
Static variables will be stored in like permanent memory, permanent memory.
Okay. So to iterate it, so it is not in, listen, whatever you said, it is absolutely wrong. So you're talking about the non-static. Non-static variables will be created in the stack memory. And when we created an object reference for them, so that particular object references will be created in the heap. So object will be created in the heap so that while accessing these all things also can be, it will be created in the heap memory itself. And static variables and static methods will be created in the perm gen memory, which is a permanent generator memory. So, so we have to be very cautious where these things will be created on. So now later on we have been seeing that how it will be acted in the from the memory point of view. So from the memory point of view, so how the object references will be created, and if you make a changes in the value for any particular object, so that how it will be reflected and how it will not impact to the other objects. So that is what we have been seeing on this particular non-static. And when it comes to the static point of view, so it will be having a common memory pool. So when we created that one, so that particular thing would be common across all the classes or all the methods. So now what it will matter to us is if you change one at one place, it will reflect in all other places also. So these are the things which we have been seen from the point of static and non-static. See, by this, now what you are able to understand is what is an object and why we should create an object and what is static and what is non-static and how you can call this particular static methods into the main methods or in the static main method, and how we can call this particular non-static into the main methods. So how this particular memory management will happen, and what is the basic differences between these particular static and non-static. So these all things which we have been covered as part of this. So these are really basic before going for the OOPS concepts. Okay, so then we have understood what is a class, and then we were discussing about it. Now, before going for these particular things, we have been in the methods also, right? So we have been discussed about a simple method, and after that particular simple methods, then we have been discussed about the parameterized method, and then we have been stopped over there. Then we went to constructor. So because the constructor is also a special method, so when you're creating an object, so you should know very detail about the constructors. So we have been discussed about the constructor, what is a constructor, and what are the qualities of a constructor, and what is the purpose of a constructor creation. So these all things also we have been looked after it. So now, before going to the next topics, means the basic four pillars for the OOPS concepts is encapsulation, abstraction, inheritance, polymorphism. So these are the basic concepts of uh, uh, OOPS. Now, before understanding all these particular four concepts, now this is the second step where you need to start with the parameterization. So because now with a simple method, we have been seeing all these things. Now with a parameterized method, now we need to talk about this one so that you can connect the dot till the polymorphism. So that is where I kept this particular parameterized method pending. So now let's take that particular parameterized method for today, and then how it will be connected to the how it will be connected towards the polymorphism. We'll talk about that. So that is what today we'll be going to take it up. So here for this, I need some volunteer so who can quickly share the screen and then do the things for me for today. So who wanted to share the screen? Anyone wanted to volunteer? Okay, go ahead, Durga. Share the screen. Okay, so now go to your Eclipse, and then I just wanted to see your methods. And so we have been discussed what is this methods and what is this particular attributes, and so what is a simple method, and for a simple method, what are the things we can do wrong, and what is a method declaration. So in the method declaration, so we have been seeing that the access specifiers, and once after the access specifier, so we will be having a static or non-static. Now we know very clearly whether means how we need to define these static methods or non-static methods, and whether the return type and method name. The name should start with always with the small letters. And once after we started the flower braces and the closure braces, so that's the life of a particular method. So that is what we have been discussed about. So now let me take you through the first thing we have been done from 5 to 11th line. If you see here, that's a simple method which we have been created. In that, can you maximize only the editor? Close all and just you click that particular maximize button there. Beside that constructor demo.java, there is a small minus and then the window there, right? Yeah. Now, yeah. So if you see here, and then please click control and then plus button so that it increases the font. Now let's see that. So from the 5 to 11, this is a simple method which we have been created. Now from line number 12 to 16, so now you can see here, this is called parameterized method. What do you mean by parameterized method? It is very simple that if I pass the parameters, then it is called parameterized method. See now when it goes to Python, there are 5 different type of parameterizations available in Python. But in Java, it is straightforward and it is pretty simple. So here, when it comes to this particular parameterization, now you can see it that we have this particular braces, right? In this one, you can see that int a, comma int b. So means which I'm trying to pass this particular test, means these are the parameters I wanted to pass it to this particular method. What do you meant by this? What do you meant by this? So already you guys has been implemented, right? Why should I pass this particular parameters over there? I can use the direct methods, which in the previously I have been used a simple method, right? There I'm not passing any particular parameters. Why I should pass this particular parameters for this?
So
Anyone wanted to answer this?
for same functionality with
Definitely, if you want
different
to allocate
data.
I will tell to the compiler that I
Sir,
need
method overloading, sir.
Okay.
integer type
No,
of
just raise your hands. I'll ask one by one, please. Okay, Monica, ahead.
So, good morning. So, if you want to allocate the value at the dynamically, so we will use the parameters methods.
You can allocate that one as a global variable and also allocate the values for it, right? But you said the right answer, but just wanted to confuse you. That's where I was saying it. Okay, let me hear out from others too. Gautami.
If you want to store the particular values, then we use a parameter by passing the arguments.
If you wanted to show,
Pardon me?
Repeat the answer.
So if we want to store the values, whatever the parameters, we are passing it. So by using the arguments, we store it in parameterized method. To store any particular variable values, so we use parameterized.
No, you can store any value in any variables, right? See, now you can store it in a local variables also. You'll be storing that one. See, now in a simple method, if you see in the code, the first method, if you see it, that is where she has been done, means Durga has been done in the same pattern, right? She showed the value of A, B, and then she has been added that one. That is what she has been done in line numbers 6 and 7, right?
Okay.
Okay, Swapna.
For multiple objects, if we create, we can send different arguments, na, sir?
If it is a static method, why you will create multiple objects? So it is not dependent upon the static or non-static.
Yeah.
Partho?
Yeah, good morning, sir. Sir, this is the
morning.
concept of method overloading, sir. Actually, in the line number 37, I guess. So here she passes the two arguments, and the arguments are copied in the line number 12. This overloaded here as the int A and int B. Then it will be executed.
See, you're going for the next step and then you're talking about it. But my basic question, why should we pass this parameterization? So now I can pass the same thing as a simple method and then pass this particular a sixth and seventh line and I can do it. Right? What is the purpose of this?
Oh, sir, to override, sir. Sorry, to overload.
So once again, you're saying the same. So you need to understand the concept of overloading and overriding. That is a different one. Okay. Any other answers?
Sir, when we call
sir,
the method again, we can change the values, sir.
Method again, you can change the values.
Sir, when we
Okay.
call the method again, we can change the values, sir.
To call the
sir,
method with multiple values.
It acts as
Okay.
a local variable, sir, and we can call the method. Then there is no existence of the local variable after the method, sir, because the local variable, it will exist within the method only, sir. That's why we call the parameterization. Means we pass the path argument.
So you can define that in a global and then also you can pass it, right?
Java is used for the code reusability purpose also. So if you want to change the values, one time we can use this arguments, sir.
Yes, sir. Like first time we can call the my method sum by providing 1, 2 value. then we can again call that method my method sum like 3, 4 by providing those values.
Okay, let me give you the, see, already people has been given the answer. I'm not saying the new answer, but still it should be in a proper way. The first thing is, now I'm saying that, hey, these are the parameters belongs to this particular method. See, for an example, for a first, okay, I don't want to take those examples, but let me give you this. So now these are belongs to this particular parameters. These variables are belongs to this particular method, and this method will use this particular parameters. See, that is where those will be defined here. This is the first reason. Second reason, you can say that you can pass the dynamic values for this one. Means it is not that whenever you're calling this particular method, you can give the dynamic values for it. It's not a constant value. If you see in the first method and the second method, what is the difference is there your A value and B value is constant. So you haven't declared that particular values. If you see in the line number 7 and 8, A value and B value was constant. Now, whenever you're calling this particular method, the A value and B value would be stagnant. So that's the first reason. And so second reason. The first reason is we are saying that, hey, this method will use these particular parameters, and these parameters you can define on your own. We are giving that particular privilege to the user, means to the coder. See, when you're creating this particular method, you are saying this particular means whoever uses this method. See, many people created Java and we are using it, right? So now for us, they created this convenience. So for this particular method, now whatever the method which you are going to use it, so these are the parameters which this particular method will use. So define your own parameters. So this is what the parameterized method talks about. So first thing is user convenience, means this particular method will, this particular, someone is typing very heavily, it was distracting me. So for this particular method, these are the parameters which you need to use it. So that's the first thing. And second thing is dynamically you can give whatever the values you wanted when you're calling this particular method. And these are specifically used for this method. So this is how this particular parameterized method will work for us. So now here what we have been done, we have been passed this particular int A and int B, and then what we means in the method body, what we are trying to do, some addition we are trying to add. Now, wherever you call this particular method, what I'll do, first time I'll give 5 plus 5, second 5 comma 5. Second time, I'll be calling them with a 10 comma 10 or 15 comma 10 or 1000 comma 10, lakh comma 1 lakh. So this is how I'll be calling on this one. So this, the user have the privilege and leverage to change these particular values dynamically. So it is dynamic in nature, and this is user choice, and this is, it defines that this particular method is going to use these particular parameters. Got it? So these are the three basic reasons why we use a parameterized method. Why not the simple method? So you should know where I should use a parameterized method, where I should use a simple method. So parameterized method always talks from the point of this, hey, for this method, what are the belonging parameters it is there? So that's the first thing. Second thing, it gives the users to give the dynamic value, the choice, like whatever the choice which I wanted to provide for it. So this is how this particular parameterized methods would be created, and then it would be used for us. Now, see, now the line number 18 to 22, is it a static method or a non-static method?
Non-static.
Non-static.
All, so if you see here, all these are particular non-static method. Now you tell me, will it require this particular, all the methods if I wanted to call from another class? How I will be calling this particular thing? Let's do the same thing. Now comment the line number from 35 to complete the main method. You can comment it. Create another quick class. You have been flow. Yes. So now create another class.
So by using the object reference, we can call in another class.
Absolutely. See, always you need to remember that object references while you're creating and calling it, either it is same in the same class or in the different classes. But you should know, create, and is it mandatory that every class should have the main class, main method?
No, sir. No, sir.
No,
It's
sir.
not required. See, in one particular class, I'll be defining all my methods. In another class, I'm going to call these all methods. Create one class quickly. So always you remember that in one class, I created all my methods. In another class, I'm going to call all these methods. Now, I'll create two classes. So now, let me explain this one. So first, create class A, create class B, create class C. In class A, I should have few static and non-static methods. Class B, I should have few static and non-static methods and variables also, non-static variables. In class C, I should call this particular class A and class B objects and class B methods and then variables. Can you quickly do this exercise? Once again, I'll repeat this. Okay, create one package. Okay, now you can keep this package name as a cross classes access, cross class accesses. Okay, you can give this as a CCA. Now, under that particular package, create class A, class B, class C. Class A don't have method, means the main method. Class B don't have main method, but it should have a quick 2 to 3, one static method or non-static method, and then static variables, non-static variables. In class B also some static methods, non-static methods, some variables. And class C have the main method here, and here also have some static and non-static, and call all these particular classes as methods and variables into the particular C class methods, main method. Okay, hardly takes 5 minutes of time for you. I'll just keep that particular 5 minutes ideal. So you people can do that and then you can quickly show it to me. Because now when I wanted to explain about the next topic, you should know the cross class accesses. So that's the reason you need to do this exercise so that you can clearly understand. So now we have been seeing that parameterized methods, right? And how this particular parameterized, you can use a parameterized methods also to be accessed into the next classes. Hope you guys understood what I'm saying, right? Class A, class B, class C. And you means class A, class B, you don't have the main methods, create static, non-static, and access them into this. Create a package called CCA. Under this particular package, create 3 classes and then access them. Got it? So the time is 10:26. I'll be connecting back at 10:31. So by that time, create that and then show it to me back.
Okay, sir. Can I start sharing, sir?
You can stop sharing and then you can go ahead, please.
Thank you, sir.
Swapna, your rising hand. Any question? Okay, all others are also rising hand.
No, sir. No, sir. No, sir.
Okay, it's already 10:30. So who is done? Can you raise your hands, please? Okay, me too. Share the screen.
So,
It requires some more time for you people.
can you see my screen, sir?
Yes.
So this is class A. I have created a static method and non-static method here. And in class B also I have created a simple non-static method and static method. And in class C, the main method I have called the non-static method by creating an object A for class A, and I have called the non-static method mod by creating an object B of class B, and I have called a static method directly by using the class name.
Okay. So now, next, so now you've seen it, right? So for what Neetu have done is, so she has been created three classes, the class A, class B, class C, and she has certain methods in class A, which is from static and non-static methods in both the classes. Now she created an object reference to call the non-static methods, and static method can be called into another class. How? With the class name directly. So always you need to remember that any particular static method or static variable, if you wanted to call, just you need to call with the class name itself. Class name dot will be using it. Without using the class name, can I call that method?
No.
Without using the class name, can I call the static method?
No. No.
If it is in the same class,
Yeah.
if it is in the same class,
then we can just call by the method.
So if it is in the same class, it can be called with the method name. But if you're calling into any other class, you should call with the class name dot the method name for the static variables. So till here, any questions? Are we clear with this concept? See, now this just nothing bigger we have done. Always remember the approach for the non-static methods or variables. Either it is in the same class or it is in the different class. It is same. Create object and call them. If it is the static variable, even this is also same. So you can call in the same class name dot the method name, or directly also you can call. So these are the two options of calling the static method in the same class. But if it is in the external classes, means in the another class, if you wanted to call, then class name dot the method name. So that's a pretty simple thing. So as of now, did you understand this particular concept? Any questions here?
No, sir. Understood.
Everyone, all clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So let me explain here one topic. So Neetu, you have so you have a whiteboard or anything?
No, sir.
Anyone have whiteboard? Okay.
Can I?
Open the MS Paint. See, here what I wanted to discuss about it is, a concept called polymorphism. So because when you wanted to know the concept of polymorphism, so you should know about this particular cross-class accesses also. Why? In our conversation, definitely you'll understand. First of all, what is polymorphism? So when it comes to the polymorphism, the name itself, it was saying that poly, right? Poly means many. Morphism, behaviors. See now, if you have been seeing a movie called Aparchitudu, so in Telugu, and then you have this is Vikram's, and then you have Shankar's movie, right? So what's this movie? The person split personality disorder means that guy will behaves with a different. Oh, this will be having a different shades for that particular character.
Sorry, your voice breaking.
I'm not talking. I'm just waiting Neetu to do the unmute herself. Neetu, can you go on mute? Okay. So now if you see here, but the same character will behave in a different forms. No need to have that particular cinematic thing. So let's see our own selves. See, we are the same person, right? We will behave differently with our friends. We will behave with our spouse. And the way we behave professionally means we have from childhood friends, the way we behave with the childhood friends, and the way we behave with the spouse, or the way we behave professionally, or the way we behave with our parents, the way we behave with our brothers and sisters or siblings. See, we are the same person, right? The same person behaving differently with a different set of peoples, right? See now, we are only the same person, but when I'm talking to my boss, I'll talk it in one way. When I'm talking to my friend, who's my very close friend, I'll behave differently. And when I'm talking to my parents, I'll be behaving separately. When I'm talking to my kids, I'm talking to separately, a separate pattern. Or when I'm talking to my spouse, so always there will be difference. See now, if you see here, the same person will be behaving differently. So now this is what called as polymorphism. Same person having multiple behaviors based upon the situations. So this is called polymorphism. Same person, different behavior. Now bringing the same concept to the our Java coding, what will be using it? Methods. Same method names with a different behaviors. So then this is called polymorphism. In the polymorphism, we will be having two different categories. One is method overloading and method overriding. See, whenever I ask this question, people will get confused and then they'll give the wrong answer. They'll give the vice versa answers. I don't know. This is a pretty simple concept. For this concept, every time everyone will get confused. See, for an example, all our Indians have one particular typical behavior. If when we are hosting someone, we will call the people for the dinner, lunch, or anything. So when we are hosting someone, we'll ask means we will try to overload our guest. We'll ask was eat something. First, for example, he can eat one biryani. We will try to serve two biryanis for him. So this is called overloading. Means we are trying to overload that. So now how we can overload a particular method? So that is what we'll be discussing as part of method overloading. And overriding, I'll tell you later. First of all, let's target on overloading. Okay. Now, Pranta, share the screen.
Yes, sir. Is it visible, sir?
Now it is. So show me the class which you have been written the methods. So you didn't complete this activity.
Sir, here.
I'm asking the class A, class B, class C, whichever we have been discussed. Did you completed that one or not?
Yes, sir. I write those methods. Didn't call it.
Okay. So now let rephrase this particular method names so that we can have a clear-cut information. Now, line number 10, you have it right, AM2. We change that particular method name to add. Okay. Now, same copy the line number 10 to 13. One more time. Okay. Now, if you see here, in the same class, always you remember. Okay. Pranta, go on mute, Pranta. So, in the same class, okay, in the same class, I created with the same method name. What it was trying to show me, it was throwing me the error, but that a duplicate method. Just to hover on this method name, that add method name. So duplicated method. So now what we need to change? Usually all these days, what we try to do is we have been changing the methods. But here the concept of method overloading, what it will have it is in the same class, always you remember, in the same class with the same method name, we wanted to define with a different behavior. We discussed, right? Same person with a different behaviors. Now, same method name with a different behaviors. So that is what we'll go and see this. So how we can do that one is, now go to line number 15, add method. Line number 15, add method is there, right? There you type the parameter int a comma int b. So now what we are trying to do is, in the same class with the same name, having different set of parameters. So now here, what it happened? Now go to the line number 20. In add method, there you mention the parameters called int a comma int b comma int c. That's it. You implemented the method overloading. How much simple is this? What we are trying to say is, in the same class with the same method name with a different number of parameters. So now what the first method will try to do, just it will call add method. Now in the second method, what it will try to do, it will add two numbers. In third method, what it will try to do, it will add three numbers. So the behavior, now you go into the method 12, sorry, line number 12, and you can change the statement. This is for addition of 5 numbers. You can keep that because I wanted to just show differences, right? Addition of 5 numbers. When it comes to the line number 17, addition of 2 numbers and addition of 3 numbers. So see now, sysout will always gives you just to give the information, but you see it, the behavior of that method may differ.
So now for an example, method 1 you're using to add 5 numbers. Method 2 you're using to add only 2 numbers. Method 3 you're adding 3 numbers. So this is how we will be using this one. So what is the definition for method overloading? Don't by heart the definition. In the same class, with the same name, with the different number of parameters, number of parameters. So now here, the first method don't have any parameters. Second method have 2 parameters. Third method have 3 parameters. So this is called method overloading. And here there is one more small thing is also there. Now with the same parameters also, with the different data types, we can have it. You can copy the line number 15 to 23 and paste it back. Paste it back. See, these 4 methods now it was throwing error because with the same name, same number of parameters, below also we have the same name, same number of parameters. So definitely it will throw me error, right? Now what I'll try to do is, instead of int b, okay, I'll write it as a string b. Okay, can you change that one to string, the line number 25, int a, comma, string b. And same for the c, you can change it as a string c. See now here what it matters is line number 15 method have 2 parameters. Line number 25 have 2 parameters. But here what is the difference? The data type is different. So now what is the definition? Now you can form this. In the same class, okay, in the same class with a different, with the same class, with the same method name, with a different number of parameters or different data types, if we implemented, then this is called method overloading. You see it, right? Same method, I'm overloading with a different number of methods, different number of parameters or different data types. Same method, overloading with different number of parameters and the data types. So this is called method overloading. You define your own definition. Don't by heart this. So it is very simple to understand. So what do you mean by polymorphism? Polymorphism is nothing but means the name itself, it was defined. Poly, many behaviors for the same thing. So for an example, means for these examples will be given it as like a dog. So dog barks, like a cat do meow, and lion roars, means human talks. When you wanted to do a communication, means communication can be possible in different channels, different ways. So that's where I have been taken that person example. So we as an individual, means we will be acting in a different situations. Not acting, we behave ourselves differently with a different set of people. So as I told you, how we spend our time with our close buddies, friends, and office professionals, and spouse, kids, parents, siblings, everything. It means we are the same person, but our behavior will be different in the different ways. The same way, now a single method, this particular method will behaves in a different ways. So based upon the situation. So the polymorphism can be defined in 2 ways. One is method overloading and method overriding. So overloading is nothing but in the same class with the same name, with the different number of parameters or with a different data types, if we have been implemented, then this is called method overloading. That's it. You tell me, is it difficult to understand? So this is the simplest concepts. So, but see, the basic problem is if you learn in this particular pattern, it will be much more easier for you to understand. Or else this would be a great, if I'm telling you, right, in any of the interviews, whenever we are asking this particular question, the people will confuse themselves and they will make the interviewer to confuse, and they give the wrong answers for this. Okay, I'll give a pause here. Any questions here?
Sir, can I ask?
Sir,
Hello, sir. Sir, you are saying this is method overloading. So when we compile this one, everything is functioning. Then how can we say this is overloading?
See, Dwarka, you need to understand one point. The definition, see now, everything is functioning. All these methods are functioning. But when you're calling that method, that will be there. See, for example, you went for a party. Okay, let me take it not in that way. So let me take it in a something decent. So now you went for a marriage occasion of your family. So now in the same marriage occasion, you have your own friends, you have your siblings, you have your parents, and you have your everyone will be there. But when you come aside, when you're talking to your friends, you will be talking in a different way. And when you're going and talking to your parents, you will be talking in a different way. When you're going and talking to your spouse, you will talk in a different way. When you're talking to your siblings, you'll talk in a different way. You are in the same situation, but when you're going to particular person, the behavior will change. Automatically that will change. Similarly, in a class, when you're calling them, so now where you are calling these all things, so now when you're calling in a main method, so now when you're calling this particular add, so now go back. So now anyways, you need to call it in the C class, right? Go to the C class and call those particular methods. So now what it happens here, when you're calling and executing it, so that particular method behavior will be different. Now once after that one, it will call another method. So that method behavior will be different. So now what we will be trying to do? So first he is trying to create the object for this one. So now obj dot add. So now you see it. How many methods you are able to see it? So the same add method int a comma int b, int a comma string b, int a comma int b int c, int a int b string c. So now all the methods are displayed for you. Now you can choose which parameterized method you wanted, because according to that particular method, it will perform that action. So now you call that, click on that. So now, so here you'll be passing this one as 5, 10, and then as a string, you can pass whatever you wanted. So now here, this is how you'll be calling that respective behavior, that with the same method names, right? So now I have an addition method. Now I wanted to add 2 numbers, so that I can call 2 numbers method. I wanted to add 3 numbers, so that I can call 3 number addition method. I wanted to call 5 numbers, so I'll call that a 5 numbers addition method. But what underlying I'm doing, the same method name, right? The same method. The basic purpose of that method is to do addition. Now the addition, it depends upon the parameters I need to change my method. So that is how it will be called. So now this is an excellent topic where you will be using in the real time. In terms of the real time, we'll be using this one a lot. See, actually, I didn't given you the basic advantages. What is OOPS? What are the advantages of OOPS and these things? Why? Because rather than me giving a theoretical class, I should explain you all these things and then wanted to give you the advantages of this. So these 4 pillars, or in the OOPS we have 4 pillars, which is polymorphism, inheritance, abstraction, encapsulation. So with this one, so there are a lot of advantages. It made the complete code too much reusability. How this will be possible? First, you understand the concepts, then you can learn that one so that it will be easy. So to give you the straightforward answer, so while doing the execution, I'll call a respective method to execute so that it will execute the respective things. Got it? Or still, I mean, actually, one more thing. Until unless you implement this, so now that you'll be having that confusions. So go back, clearly describe these particular methods and create the class, and then call those particular all the methods which you have been created, so that you can easily understand. So what is this differences between these particular method overloading methods, whatever you created, and then you're accessing it. Okay. Any other questions?
Sir, in real time, where we can use this concept?
In all our tools, we'll be using it. For an example, we will be using this particular Actually, this is what the interview question. So some means the people will be asking to know that whether you have a real-time experience or not. Now, let me ask this question to our existing team members. Can you give me an example of method overloading in our implementations of our framework? Anyone? Sasidhar, Aarti.
Can we give it in the calculator example? So for example, we want to add two numbers, we can take it. 3 numbers, we have function. For same add, we can have 2 numbers, 2 parameters, 3 parameters, n parameters also we can give in calculator.
Yes, but I'm talking from our real-time implementation.
So I think
so that's what I just wanted.
In calculator example, it will be helpful.
But I'm just talking from the real-time implementation, means from the Selenium. So how we'll be using this? Which method we have this particular method overloading?
Sir, can I, sir?
For example, get URL is there, sir. There we are giving our own URL.
Get URL is a parameterized method only, right? See, what is method overloading method? Same method with a different set of parameters where you are passing in the Selenium. Those methods I'm asking. Get URL is a simple parameterized method. You will pass the URL. That's it, right?
Sir, I will try, sir, on this.
Go
For example,
in switching the frames, sir, we are using the overload.
So in the switching the frames, we have it. The frame method we have. So frame methods, we will be having this particular method overloading. And even in this index, the select method also, it is an overloaded method from the Selenium. Yes, Shashidhar, you were saying something?
In Playwright also we have for navigating URL, we have two different methods, sir. One is for default timer, it will work with the default time, and one more method is we can manually explicitly we can set the time. So this is two methods for navigation, and for clicking also we have this method, two different methods. For default it will take 30 seconds, and one more method is we can explicitly set the time in Playwright too.
Excellent. That's a good example. So from the Playwright, we have this. See, always that's a very simple to identify. Hey, how I need to identify this? But same means different parameters or different data types. Then this is called method overload. Wherever you find that one, so that would be useful use case. Okay, so fine. So I wanted to take on this one also in terms of method overriding, but definitely it will take more than half an hour. I don't want to stop you people here on this, but still, these implementations, cross classes accessing, creating the method overlap methods, and then calling them in different classes, and then do on this. And as soon we connected on Monday, we'll talk about method overriding. So before coming to the class, go and hear out the videos, implement that overriding also, and come, and then we can discuss on this one on Monday.
Sir, can I ask one question?
Yes, please.
Hello, sir. Sir, I have
Go
executing
ahead,
recursion problem. Yes, sir. I'll tell you. I'm executing recursion problem, sir, for factorial. In that, I missed to place the return. So my console box is completely full. So is it loading?
See, the name itself, it was saying that. See, you need to understand one thing. The name itself, it was saying that recursive. What do you mean by recursive? Yeah, recursive for it. Now, what it will happen is continuously it will be calling inside a loop. Means it is like a loop. It will means unless you break that, it will not break. Now, what it will happen continuously while it is running this one, the basic problem, what it happens is it can't come out. Now, because of this one, the utilization of the CPU, utilization of memory, internally it will increase, right? See, now for an example, you open a browser, you are opening a YouTube channel, or anything you do it in your system, by default, it will be occupied by the CPU and the memory. That is where you see in the task manager. Now, continuously one program is running. Now, what it will happen is at one point of time, it consumes all your CPU and memory and everything. Then the system will hang. the execution will hang. Because for Eclipse, we will give certain memory. For example, now that is what we have been shown. I think, I don't know whether for you guys or for someone else, we showed, right? Eclipse, when you install in config.ini file, so you'd be having space allocated for this, means 2 GB RAM, 4 GB RAM will be allocating for it. So now if it is go beyond that particular thing, it will stuck and it will print whatever it was trying to print, it will halt, because that's an infinite loop. So now it's an infinite loop. It can't run more than this. Now what it will happen? So it will get stuck and hang. So now what usually we need to do? Control Z. So Control Z or Control Z. So now you need to click on that to break that particular loop and come out of it. Or go to the task manager, and the task manager kill that Eclipse so that it will kill, and then you can do on this. So that is where you'll be having it. And what is this? Why it was not able to return? Because it is still calling. What else it need to be written for you? See what is written. Now I perform this. This is what the output, so that I can return this particular output to the variable. Now written is nothing but example. Now I'm throwing a ball. You're going to catch the ball. So it means I'm returning that one. You need to catch. You need to store somewhere else. So that is where the return method does, right? Now in this particular thing, I'm not even throwing a ball for you. Then what you'll go and catch? So because before me throwing that particular ball, it went into a universal loop. It was revolving around the earth, but it is not coming to you. So that is the reason you are not able to have the return. So always you need to be very much careful in terms of this recursive methods. So my suggestion is don't try at all. So because that will mislead your complete coding, complete application. So that always you have to be cautious.